Hello everyone and welcome back to the Last Base channel. Today I brought a Sarcaster with me. It's our unpaid intern Bumbik, and behind him it's his big sister Puck. He will be purpuring on the background. I hope you enjoy the video. Don't forget to subscribe and drop a like. So today's video is about culture's tier list. We have 5 tiers. It's from summoning and to dark. My ranking is based on 6 criteria. It's combat power, economy, unit roster, unique features, SPI, tier 3 building, and complexity. So for the most impatient viewers, the final tier list is right in front of you. And for the one who wants to get into details, please stay with me for the whole video. So this tier list, I wanted to make this tier list because devs are not gonna release any beta now, and we won't see the dark subculture rework by ourselves. So we won't see the changing for summoning culture, the changing for aristocracy culture, and the changing for architects culture. So basically 4 cultures in the next update gonna be changed. And therefore I wanted to make this video to see the difference, what we have before and what we have after, what devs bring to us. At first, let's start with the culture I hate the most since it's rework. It's Mystic Summoning. Why I hate this culture? Because how overpowered it is. So summoning is the only culture that has 3 combat passives from the beginning of the game. And moreover, those combat passives works on mythic units as well. So those 3 combat passives are Astral Resonance, Astral Connection, and Master Summoner. Master Summoner allows your magic origin units to have extra stats, extra damage in a combat. Astral Resonance allows your units to heal for free in combat and at the same time to get strengths for free in the combat. So in a combat, anyway, each time we cast a spell, by default, it doesn't matter what culture you play, but Mystic Summoning on top gets a map-wide heal and map-wide strength on the whole army, because we play with only magic origin units. On top of that, we can pick a Wizard King to have a double cast. In that case, we will get 2 strengths per turn and double healing. So this one is super strong. And the weakest of them is probably Astral Connection that allows your magic origin units to start with extra morale at the beginning of combat. It's still strong. Morale gives us crit, and we get morale from our heroes. But it's not as overpowered as previous ones. So for combat power, because it's the strongest one, Mystic Summoning gets OP tech. And I give you some spoilers, none of those cultures will have OP tech in their combat power. Economy. Players were just on a server, when we played with balanced mods, were justifying summoning culture should be OP because they have better economy and blah blah blah, this kind of talk. I agree, they have bad economy, but my point here, they don't need a good economy. The only thing they need to build, it's one building, it's a wizard tower in their capital. All other cities and the capital doesn't need to build units. They don't need to build any building. They can just build wizard tower. They can invest money because they don't spend money on units. They spend mana on units. So they can invest money in their economy. They have bad economy, they have basically nothing for it, but they don't need a good one because they don't build buildings. All the buildings they build is to give them more mana, to give them more gold to have more buildings, to give them more production to have more buildings. So their economy is bad, but because they don't need this economy, they don't need town halls, the only tier they need is tier 2 to have wizard tower available and SPI available. So therefore their economy gets medium tech, but let's be fair, this culture is OP and it should be good here because even with bad economy they don't need it. They don't need to build many buildings. Unit roster. You might think they have for tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 unit, but they don't use it. This unit roster is bad and Mystic Summoning does not need it. On the other hand, in a game we have elementals. There are different kind of elementals. Most notable are Frost Elemental because it has 40 movement speed, Fire Elemental because it has a good engage range and good AoE attack, Light Spirit is also a very good one as a new element, and Mystic Summoning just uses all those elementals. And elementals under Mystic Summoning and Druid Ambition is very strong. You basically on first, second turn, you already have elementals with 100 HP. They do not die in combat, they do not die. They basically do not die in auto combat. You farm with them, you farm until a champion rank, so they don't evolve. You want to have a strong farming stack, which costs basically nothing because they are tier 1 units. And for some unknown reason, those tier 1 elementals, which evolve to tier 3, they require less experience to evolve. Shouldn't be like that, but that's how it currently is. So we keep them on champion rank, and why would I tell you later. So unit roster is between good and OP, but let's not use OP so often. So unit roster is good because we use elementals at the beginning. Later in the game, we switch other mythic units. We can use mythic units because our cultural passive works on magic origin tag, and most of the mythic units are magic origin, so our 3 cultural passive will work on them. With summoning, mythic units are like the best culture to go with. So unique features. There is one unique feature for summoning culture that allows you to get even more ranks for free. You do nothing. You collect with your scout those things in the world, which is one way to get. Another way to get those resources is basically doing research. You're doing research with any culture, it's a part of a game. So you basically get this resource for free. And spending this resource, you can increase ranks of your units. So on top of 3 combat passive, they get 4th one because they can give extra ranks to their units for free. And why I said before that we need to leave our elementals on a champion rank, because with this unique feature we can evolve them for free. Like it's really cheap to evolve them, but we don't pay upkeep for a tier 3 unit. So what we do, until turn 20 we get 3 stacks of tier 1 elementals. We go to our enemy's capital. On turn 25 we siege his capital. When he declares on us, we spend our unique resource that we got for free, and we get tier 3 elementals, and 2 of them will be champion stack, champion rank already. So your opponent will have probably 2 stacks of tier 1, maybe 2-3 units tier 2, tier 3, and you already have 3 stacks of tier 3 elementals with champion rank and druid passive 150 HP. This has no counter currently in the game. The only cultures that can compete with it, it's probably like those 3 cultures in tier A, but they're still like not so powerful as summoning. So unique feature, summoning gets OP tag. Pre-evolution, 3 ranks on a unit is too much. SPI, as I mentioned before, we do not build tier 3 in any of our cities. We don't invest in that. But SPI is available on tier 2, and SPI gives us a bit of mana based on our research stations. Good SPI, our mana we require mana for our units, so SPI gets a good tag. Tier 3 building, we don't build it, it's too far, we don't have enough production. Let's put tier 3 building, but it gives mana, but we can't get into it, and we usually do not. We don't need tier 3, we don't need to invest resources for this building. This building requires tier 3 and nothing else requires tier 3. We just need Magic Tower to unlock units. Complexity, yeah, one more point. It goes OP here. Summoning is the strongest culture in auto-clearing the map. You just need to enable auto-use of spells, research some cheap spells they can use, so you don't run out of mana. And because you build only mana buildings, you don't need gold, you don't need production, you don't need anything. You will have enough mana for that. And with your cheap armies of tier 1s, you don't spend it so much. So complexity is OP, it's auto-clearing machine. None of the cultures clears so well. That's why having so many OPs good and good. Mystic summoning cultures goes in our summoning tier, and nothing else even close to it. Aristocracy is not so far, but there is still gap between summoning and aristocracy. Do not keep this video for too long, let's look into Attunement and Potential at the same time. So Attunement took the last spot in A class, and Potential is in the middle, it's end of B class. So let's look at the boss cultures. Combat power, but Attunement has a better combat power due to its passive that allows you to get elemental damage on all your units. It's up to 3 damage. If you cast even more spells, for example, you cast 2 spells, then 1 spell, then 2 spells again, you still will have 3 passives. take each other places. So you can't get more than +3 damage. But it's elemental, and if you stack 1 different elemental damage and multiply it by 10%, it will be 2. So it's a good passive, not strong one. Let's give it a good one. But it's between medium and good, I would say. And especially attunement passive you can craft on head, armor, and I believe boots. No, not sure about boots, but head and armor items. You can craft this passive for your heroes. So this passive probably goes to medium one. Potential one is not so strong because usually what you wanna do with your hard-hitting units, you wanna cast a spell and then like weaken your opponent and then hit you with your hard-hitting units and finish this unit. But potential forces you to play a bit differently. It requires you to deal damage, to apply stacks of their potential passive, and only after that to cast a spell. So the potential card doesn't work with debuffs so well, but it works with damage spells better. And the other issue is potential. To activate their passive, they need overcharged spells. Either they need a Wither King, or they need a special item they can craft. It's either on a wand or on a staff. Before on release, on rework, potential card could like had their 3 units better. Their tier C unit was better, and they could cast double spell. I believe it was even overcharged. But after that, this unit was reworked, and now they kinda lost their power, so I would say the combat power is bad. Their passive is not so great, it requires you to play a bit differently, and it's not such a good damage to justify it. Economy. Both economies they share with summoning, but on the other hand, they have better SPIs, and they actually build buildings in their cities, so they get to their tier C buildings. They have medium economy, they can't boost it too much, but their economy is better than summoning, and they need this economy. So therefore it's on the same level as summoning. Unit roster. Attunement, of course, gets a good tag. Tier 1 units are bad, Tier 2 subbars is okay, but Tier 3 battle mage is super good. So it allows you to cleanse buffs from your... to push buffs from your enemies. Therefore it gets a good tag. Potential, on the other hand, their tier 3 is bad, their whole roster is kinda meh. I think they get a bad tag. Unique features. Potential allows you to boost your economy. So when they cast spells, either in combat or on global map, they get charges. And when they reach 3 charges per spell, they can lock the spell for 5 turns and get a cool buff for 5 turns, economic one. It can be like plus food, it can be plus gold from all cities, or it can be casting points. So unique features is definitely interesting one and quite powerful one late game because it scales with the level of the spell you cast. For tier 1 tomes it will be quite a low buff, but for tier 3, tier 4 tomes it will be a pretty powerful passive. So unique features potential gets good. Attunement allows you to cast spells when you don't have casting points in a global map or in combat. As they have the same unique resource as summoning, as they get it in the same way collecting map, their tier 3 buildings bring this resource, and they can, when they use all the casting points, they can apply this resource to, for example, to summon Astra faster. So they can summon 1 Astra per turn using their unique resource. Or in combat, when they finish, for example, their 100 casting points, they can use like more of them until they have this resource. This unique feature is definitely OP late game. It's super strong. SPIs. Potential gets good one. Attunement gets medium one. Let's keep it like this. Potential SPI, it's the best one in the game. It's on a level with high culture, and it's the best SPI, best cultural SPI in the game. Attunement gives mana, gives a bit of knowledge, medium tier. Tier 3 building, attunement gets a very good one, which allows them to accumulate their custom resource to cast more spells. Potential gets also a good one, but in a different way. They get extra ranks on subbars and battle mage units. It allows you to hire, for example, druids of cycle with higher tier. Complexity. I would say potential definitely goes bad. Potential is a hard culture to play, to be effective, to maximize your... because when you get your bonus resource from your unique feature, you need to look You need to lock those spells and you can't use them for 5 turns. It's definitely a hard one. The units are not so good, so it's hard to clear them up. Attunement is a bit better, but I would say it's still bad. Early game you're struggling, you can't clear them up so well. Your units keep dying, your units are weak, your units are even weaker without casting spells. Moving on to Feudal culture. There are two cultures of Feudal, one is Aristocracy and the other one is Monarchy. Aristocracy is leading A tier, straight after Summoning culture, and Monarchy it's leading B tier. It's still the very strong one, but Aristocracy is just better. Why Aristocracy is better? Players found out a way to play Aristocracy the same way as Monarchy. You hire all units from the capital, and those all units will get Aristocracy passive plus 40 HP, even if they are not in a stack with your Aristocrat. So you bring your ruler, you bring 3 stacks of unit, and they all get their passive 40 HP. And in order to remove this passive, you need to kill a ruler, which is kinda hard because Aristocracy player will protect this ruler. So Aristocracy is basically a Monarchy, but with a better passive. Into wars. Let's dive into their powers. Aristocracy combat power is... Okay, I promise there is not gonna be OP in combat power anymore. Aristocracy gets a good tier, and Monarchy gets a good tier too. Both combat powers are strong. Aristocracy gets plus 40 HP to heroes, to all units in the army. It works on mythic units, which is a big plus to that. Monarchy gets plus 10% of damage and plus 1/1 to stats. Very good passive, a bit weaker than Aristocracy. 40 HP is just a lot to justify not to pick it if you're playing Feudal. So Aristocracy passive is better, but their boss are still good. They work on mythic units as well. Economy. They have good economy, and it's not because of buildings. Both of them have good economy, because Monarchy, the ruler stack, does not have any upkeep, which boosts your economy better. And Aristocracy has reduced upkeep on units, which boosts your economy too. And Aristocracy has a bit better buildings. Unit roster. Okay, Aristocracy definitely gets OP. Monarchy gets a good one. Aristocracy OP is because their tier 1 evolves into tier 3 shield unit, and this tier 3 Liege Guard is the strongest shield unit in the game. And especially because of his passive, which he channels his HP into heroes, which is very strong. By the way, it's going to be nerfed by devs. We don't know how exactly, but it's going to be nerfed with a vampire plate. Monarchy still has a good roster. Instead of evolving shield tier 1 units, they're evolving their archer unit. And tier 3 longbow has a good range, has good damage. But the issue with archers this game, their role is kind of undefined right now. They don't have a spot. Their enchantments are weak a bit. So if you want to play archers, better play with skirmishers. Skirmishers are just better archers. So that's why Monarchy is in a weird spot. They have a good tier 3 unit with +1 range, but it's kind of that spot. You can't move further. Like, there is no tier 4 archer in a game or tier 5. So archers are not in a good spot now. That's why it's only good. But their roster is quite solid. As they can summon with a spell, with a unique spell, they can summon 2 peasants, which cost only 1 upkeep, which is extremely cheap. They cost 60 gold, 2 of them at the same time, so each of them costs 30, and they have 1 upkeep. You can use them as scouts, you can take them as mid shield in combat versus when you clear them up. They're extremely good. Unique features. What unique features they have? Aristocracy has extra HP on all units. Monarchy has the same one, free upkeep on units in the ruler stack, extra stats on all units, which works on mythic. By the way, in my opinion, all passives, all cultures should work on mythic units, not just like a few selected ones. SPIs, what can I say? They are food SPIs, they are not super bad, they are not good, so let's put medium tag to them. Tier 3 buildings are the same. Aristocracy has a bit better one, Monarchy has a really bad one, like that one. Complexity, good. They're good cultures to play. They are on clearing the level just right after summoning because of their peasants, cheap peasants you can summon and take with you to fight. So both of them are pretty solid factions. Aristocracy is stronger than Monarchy, but both of them are inferior to summoning. Moving on to High Culture. High Culture, together with Industrious, holding a steady third place straight after Aristocracy Culture. High Culture passive works on all units, including Mythic units, although Mythic units do not get extra stats from High Culture. For example, Shield units from High Culture, when they awaken, they get +3 light damage, +2 defense, and +1 resistance. But when you awaken Mythic units, it only gets +3 damage. But still, we consider that Culture works on Mythic units, it buffs them, therefore, they get good grade in combat power. High Culture has a great economy. They get extra foot on production flat values when they are on neutral alignment in all cities, based on your stability level. With right perks from Society Trace, you can start with second level of stability. I'm talking about Imperialist. You can actually start with +20 foot on 20 production at the beginning of the game. So for economy, they get also a good grade. Unit roster is good. Their tier 1 shield units can be mounted, pretty solid one while awakened. Tier 3 unit is about a strong battle mage, which applies a lot of debuffs, bolstered defense, bolstered resistance, and also can be mounted. So unit roster is pretty solid. Their unique feature with alignment agenda that buffs their economy. Their passive works on mythic units, and this awakened status, which they can apply to the whole army, is pretty fun to play, so we give it a good grade too. SPI is amazing in the game. It's on a level with potential, so it gets an OP grade. Tier 3 building gives them more stability to even benefit more from their agenda. But probably when you reach tier 3 you already have stability, so let's give it a good grade too. Complexity high is not so complex culture to play. You need to stay on neutral alignment all the time. Apply awakened in combat. It's a bit tedious on micromanagement, but their units are good, so let's give it medium just for micromanagement. On the same level of power as high, we have Industrious Culture. It functions quite similar. It has a great economy, even better than High Culture, so let's start with economy. And for Industrious, we put an OP economy. But on the other hand, Industrious Culture, especially the passive that gives you bolster defense and bolster resistance, is quite weak comparing to other cultures. I would even call it bad. But on the other hand, the unique spell they get, which transforms the stacks of bolster defense and bolster defense resistance into strengthened, and it works the map wide. This spell is very good. And why this spell is so good? Because it works on mythic units too. So if you manage to apply bolster defense or bolster resistance to your mythic units using your shield units as suppers or using your suppers, and then you just use this spell and you have material matrix on top, you basically transform all those stacks into 5 strengthened, and you apply 3 stacks of bolster defense on top. It works map wide. Industrious passive doesn't work on mythic units, but Industrious cultural spell works on mythic unit. It's so beautiful, so unique features. We call it Industrious spell. Actually, they get OP here too. Unit roster. Sad part about Industrious units, they're quite bad. Like, there is not much to say about it. Their tier 1 unit, the shield one, that can taunt, has a pretty strong power in manual combat against other player, but it's very bad against AI, and it does not have mount. It's low, it has no damage, and it's literally the lowest damage output for a tier 1 unit. The same issue with their tier 3 bastions. They have the lowest damage output comparing to other tier 3. Their damage is 12. 12 it's the number of tier 1.5 unit. It shouldn't exist in the game, especially on a cultural unit. Like, you pick Industrious and your tier 3 unit deals damage as tier 1 unit. Their unique ability, Shield Bash, it's full joke. It has no base tag. It doesn't scale with anything. The only strategy it works with transformations that allows you to steal morale from enemy units. So this unit, to be honest, this unit is is garbage. I didn't want to say it. Like the only good ability about it can apply bolster defense like in it to units around it. So you can bring 1 or 2 just to, get those extra free stacks. But the roster is so bad, I would not recommend playing it. So when you play Industrious, you have such an amazing economy. So use your money and power and production just to like get it into normal units, like go into a first tier 2 tome, pick an Inquisitor, which will deal like almost double of damage of this Bastion, and play normal game. But their basic roster is very bad. The one unit I like from the roster is a tier 2 pikeman, because it has a rune of retaliation attack, quite unique one. When you have a strong melee stacks, they actually deal a lot of damage from this. They get a lot of damage from this rune, but it suffers a problem of tier 2 unit. It has quite low stats comparing to tier 3, tier 4s. And their tier 1 and tier 3s, which are most important, they are really bad. So that's why unit roster, Industrious culture deserves a bad tag. SPI is good. It gives a lot of production. Tier 3 building. And why unique features OP? Because they are tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 town halls are cheaper than usual. Tier 3 buildings for Industrials gives you bastions into combat when you fight on defensive position. I actually can call it bad. It doesn't matter much for them. They're a good culture. Even without tier 3 building, unique one, but their tier 3 building is bad. Complexity, let's say it's a good one. The sad part about it, you need to micromanage your scouts a lot to do prospecting to get your economy up and running. It's a bit tedious, but their units are simple. They have no like alteration attacks. They're just stupid simple. You go, you're tanky. I mean, I wish you were tanky, but Lich is just much better Bastion. Like Lich has better stats, better HP, better abilities than Lich than Bastion. So do not use Bastion. Complexity is simple. You go into your any unit you want in a tome and you play this unit. Use your cultural spell to get 5 strengths on all your units, map wide, and enjoy the game. Next in my list goes Dark Culture. And Dark Culture has its own tier that's called Dark Tier. It's the lowest tier in this list. So why Dark Culture is so bad, and why devs finally decided to give a rework for this culture? What can I say? I haven't seen Dark Culture in a while. There are a few reasons about that. Let's complete this list together. I can already copy bad, and we put it in a few spots. Economy, bad. Unique features, bad. SPI, bad. Tier 3 building, bad. Complexity. We have so many bads already. Let's put complexity bad too. Their combat power, their cultural passive, it's the worst in the game. It works on melee and range attacks differently. On melee attacks, you get plus 20% damage against targets that are weakened. And range units get 90% chance to apply weakened with their attacks. Sounds good, 20% a lot. Weakened is a good debuff. 90% is a good chance for range units to apply. Where lies the problem? The problem lies weakened is a counter to strengthened buff. And strengthened buff is the most desired buff in the game. And probably after turn 25, when you fight with your opponent already has something to apply strengthened. He has 5 strengthened. And you are playing Dark Archer. You need to apply weakened. And in order to apply weakened, you first need to dispel his strengthened 5 and then apply at least 1 weakened. So it means in one turn you need to apply 6 weakened. It's nearly impossible. It means your cultural passive stops working like after turn 25. This is very bad one. 20% damage, and at the same time it's not a big buff. For example, 2 of the units of Dark Culture are charge units. They already have 60% extra damage from charge. Those 20 extra percent won't do much difference. But if you put like 5 extra base, like as a strife passive, those 60% will scale those 5 extra damage better than just 20% to the base. So their combat power It's really garbage. It's the worst one in the game. One of the worst one. Why one the worst one? Because we have an X culture. We will talk about later. Yeah, combat power bet doesn't work on mythic units either. So the only thing which is actually good for them, their roster is quite interesting. Their tier 1 Dark Warrior was recently buffed, like 2 patches ago. It got some extra HP, so it's a normal tank unit. The issue is it's tier 1, you wanna farm with the map, but it's a bit slow and you can't pick athletics to it. Why you can't pick athletics? Because your tier 3 unit is actually good. It's a Dark Knight. It has a mount already, and you don't want to pick athletic when you have a good mounted unit. So, in vacuum, tier 1 unit is good. It's a good charge unit. Tier 3 unit, Dark Knight, it's actually amazing. I like this unit. It has potential. It has a charge attack. It has AoE ability, pretty strong one, which costs 3 action points. Warlock is also a good battle mage. Night Guard, good against cavalry, pretty strong pikeman unit. So the roster is good. The problem with the culture, everything else, it's so bad. Okay, now we have Reaver culture. I wanted to work with Reaver culture together with the Dark. The reason why, because they have quite a similar story. Even if they have like 2 tiers different, but what I can do, I can copy this bet, I can apply it here, 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 and actually let's apply it here too. Why Reaver has like 6 bet, like 6 lowest points, the same as Dark Culture do, but has a much better ranking. It's actually in B tier and quite a good one. It's solid middle ground. Because there is something OP about this culture. And there is something, it's a unit. It's a tier 3 Dragoon. Tier 3 Dragoon has a base attack 28, has a passive Master Skirmisher, at the same time it has Breaching and Piercing, so it ignores 50% defenses and resistances. And Master Skirmisher passive allows it to shoot and run away. It's probably the most annoying unit to fight in a game. Its damage output as a tier 3 unit is on a different level. It's like not even level of tier 4 unit. So comparing to Inquisitor, which has 24 damage from its range attack, this unit already has 28. And it can run away after it shoots. It has a bit lower stats, but it has higher damage, it can run away, so it basically has larger distance. The only reason this culture is in a B tier, not in a dark tier, is because of one unit, Dragoon. The rest of roster is so bad. Your first tier 1 pikeman unit, Mercenary, the unit is supposed to be tier 1.5, like higher than tier 1 unit, normal one. It's garbage. Its melee ability, unique one, allows to attack and replace. Sounds good on paper. Yes, it's a good ability when player controls it. When AI controls it, what happens? This unit runs first. It replaces with like a spider, and it like at the end it stays in the middle of enemy's formation. And what happens? The whole enemy formation does flanking attack on this pikeman because it's not on the spot it's supposed to be, and this pikeman died. This unit is bad for farming. Harrier, 40 movement unit, skirmisher, weak stats, not very good for farming. They improved its brain a bit. Not a solid unit, a very weak stats. You can't use it for farming. You can take a few to activate it with your support. Okay, support. Support was buffed. It's quite a good support. It has healing, better healing than it had before. Before it was pure garbage. Now it's playable actually. It can be optionally mounted, so support is good. It has low damage output, but it has a unique ability that allows you to capture a unit and then hire this unit with special resource you have. Why did we put the unique features but? Because the special feature War Spells allows you to hire a cannon, allows you to interact with your vassals. I mean, that's what designers would say to you when they designed it. What happened at the end? Cannon is a shitty unit after rework. When they added single shot attack, they forgot to buff the cannon. Now the cannon does 30 damage with 3 action points attack. Yeah, it's an AoE attack, but it should be single shot. It's basically a dragoon, but much slower and that doesn't benefit from your racial traits. Cannon is expensive. On the other hand, to use those war spoils to interact with your pre-cities to make vassals, it's a very bad. Conversion rate is horrible. You can get war spells so fast to actually interact with your vassals. And what this passive does, because you get those war spells and you're kind of cool, like a total war guy, you need to find free cities, get war spells from them, interact with other free cities. Developers decided to take Whispering Stone away from you. It's really bad. This Whispering Stone, this cultural passive is garbage. You get no benefit from it, and on top of that, you don't have a Whispering Stone. So probably the unique feature of Reaver culture is it's the only unique feature that actually makes the culture worse. Because with this Whispering Stone, at least you would have good stability in your capital city, but you don't have this luxury. Economy extremely bad SPI. Nothing good is about this culture except Dragoon. To be fair, Dragoon unit is so vested. Like, this unit definitely should be nerfed. One unit is OP, but everything else in this culture is so bad. If you move this unit to anything else except, of course, Dark, this unit will definitely like be top one pick. I noticed in comments, one guy been asking to prepare a build with mage logs and reavers. Actually, it's a bit hard. As I said, reavers have nothing to go on with them. If you want to invest in mage logs, you're delaying your main unit Dragoon. Mage log is not an amazing unit. It has an okay damage. After rework, it's worse than it was before. They reworked this unit a few times. It's not a good unit for clearing. It's not a good unit for PvP. It has only 55 HP base. This unit dies to everything. To damage spells, to Eldritch, to everything of white. So before the engage, you probably lose half of them. I don't think I can make competitive build with mage logs. Because like if you wanna like have a timing push with them, you get them later, you have bad economy. You can't hire them fast. And when you get them, your opponents will probably have already 3 stacks of tier 3s. And you don't have enough damage and enough HP to sustain that. So I don't think build with mage logs is actually viable. Moving to Oathsworn. 3 subcultures, Strife, Righteousness, and Harmony landed in 3 respective tiers, A, B, and C. So why that happened? Let's start with their unit roster. Oathsworn, as a culture, probably has the strongest lineup in the game. So their tier 1 and tier 2 units they share across 3 subcultures are the strongest one. Tier 1 Honor Blade is probably the strongest tier 1 unit in the game, and their tier 2 support is probably the strongest cultural support in the game. Because it has an AoE healing, it has a cleanse, and at the same time, with their base attacks, they remove 1 positive status effect from an enemy. So in case you're targeting some hero, and this hero stat have a steadfast passive, Oathsworn cultural support can kill this hero instantly, because it dispels and on the same turn deals damage. So it basically ignores the steadfast effect. Of course, it will be different if this hero has more buffs, because Oathsworn dispels only 1, but it's still a very strong support. 3 subcultures have different tier 3 units. Strife and Righteousness, they have shock units, which are pretty good. I would say Strife has a bit stronger one, but they both have a good utility. And Harmony has an Archer. Archer is pretty solid, so they're all 3 playable. And for that, all 3 cultures for their roster get good, and I described them as the best roster in the game. Why they got only good and not OP tag? So as you see, the only OP tag got Aristocracy, Reaver, Summoning was close to OP tag, and because of their evolutions. Oathsworn has no evolutions, it clears them up well, respectively well, because they have very strong units, but their cultural passive, for example, Strife cultural passive, is very strong in PvP, which when you bring the same amount of units or like lower amount units than your opponent, or you retreat your units or lose your unit, and you like make it even, you get +5 bonus when you're on a Paragon level. Righteousness has it a bit differently. Righteousness passive depends on their alignment, on their good alignment. In case if you are pure good and have 130 points, you will get +5 damage on all units. The only difference with Strife gets fire damage. This one is light damage, Righteousness. But Righteousness doesn't apply their bonus to flanking attacks. Harmony, on the other hand, has completely different passive. Harmony likes when they're being beaten, and when they reach 60% HP, they get an insta heal with temporary H points. By the way, Harmony passive is probably the best out of 3 for clearing the map, because your unit have auto heal, and they don't die so often. For combat power, Strife getting good, Righteousness getting, I think it's a bit weaker, but it's still on a good level, and Harmony is getting medium tier, because healing is procced on your opponent's turn, and your opponent can apply decay on you, reduce your amount of healing, or just maybe surpass this 60% barrier and instantly kill your unit. You won't get this temporary HP. So Harmony passive is a bit weaker. About their unique features. Strife gets extra resources from pillaging and raising cities. Actually, a lot of resources. And they get Imperium for that. For this unique mechanic, they get an OP tag. Righteousness shares a common Oathsworn mechanic. When they reach Paragon level or any other level, they get extra stability in cities. So it's kind of an economy bonus, and to that they get medium, because 3 cultures share it, and Strife has something on top. Harmony, on the other hand, is struggling here. So they share the same passive as Righteousness. They get extra stability in cities based on their devotion level, but they have a drawback. They cannot declare wars. They have extra options with vassals. For example, they start on a better stage of vassalage when you conquer a city, but the issue is you have a drawback, you cannot declare wars. So just for that perspective, even when you play in 1v1, you cannot declare wars on 3 cities. You will lose your devotion level, and going in minus is very bad on any Oathsworn culture. So just for that reason, their unique feature is getting bad tag. Because personally, I think it was done for single player. In multiplayer, not be able to declare war, it's kind of hard to play. You're basically playing with a hard debuff, and you get like nothing in return for that. So Harmony is getting bad tag for unique features. SPIs. Strife is definitely getting a good tag. It's giving +1 rank to all units recruited in the city, which is very strong. Righteousness has a weak one, medium tag. Harmony has a good one, and gives research. 3 of their economies are pretty good ones, due to extra stability from devotion. They have quite good SPIs, so they all get good economy. But Strife has a bit better economy due to pillaging, giving them a lot of gold and Imperium. Tier 3 buildings respective, they all work similarly. Their tier 3 building gives them city stability, I believe it was +20, and a tier 3 unit when combat is in their domain. Tier 3 building is not so strong, all of them get medium tag. Complexity. Strife, it's an easy culture to play. You get units, you try to fight with the same number of units against AI. For simple fights, you bring up at least 6 units, doesn't matter about your passive, you're still strong, your units are strong. When you're fighting against like big armies, bring the same number of units or less, and you will have like +5 damage. +5 fire-based damage, very strong. Righteousness is the same, 5 light damage. And Harmony, complexity, they play the same, they can clear them up well, they have strong units, strong passive, but because they have very bad unique feature, complexity is bad due to that you can declare war, so it's basically a single player culture. I've been working on this video for almost a week already, and you know what happened? Beta suddenly dropped, and beta brought a lot of cool changes. So game experience when you play live version on beta is definitely improved, and we will talk about it later. So currently we're switching on to architect culture, and you can see I put architect culture in B tier. You might ask, why the culture with infinite damage scaling is in B tier? I answer, because infinite damage scaling, despite how culture good or bad, is pretty already broken. So in order to balance this culture in multiplayer games, we put artificial limitations on them. So for example, on one server I've been playing on, we put like you can't build more than 4 monuments. I mean 1 monument of tier 4. So you can actually get only 4 stacks of your passive. On other server with evolved mod, Cody basically increased price for the monument. So you couldn't build like more than 4 or 5 in 80 turns game. So there were different limitations. Why it's still in B tier? Because on culture release, I believe it was incomplete. And here goes a few reasons. First, the reason is unit roster. They have an amazing tier 2 shield/pikeman unit. It counts as a shield unit, but is wielding a short spear and has a first strike attack. So why unit roster is incomplete? Because of their two units. Is their archer and tier 3 unit. Archer, tier 2 archer dealing 10 damage on base attack and mediocre damage on its special attack. And the special attack has 3 action points and only 4 range. So those are stats for a tier 1 archer unit, not for tier 2. And special action with 3 action points that barely deals any damage. It applies good debuffs, yes, it's a good ability. But 4 range and 3 action points, it's just too bad for this archer. So in beta, they already changed it. They gave it 6 range. And I think it should have been done from the beginning. And they increased damage to 12. 12 damage is the base damage for a tier 2 archer. So currently in live version, this archer is not performing for what it should be. And I believe they just were afraid to buff it because culture had infinite damage scaling. And other reason is their tier 3 unit. So the thing with architects, their cultural passive that gives extra damage on incarnate stacks, it doesn't work on combat summons. And it was intentional. But their tier 3 unit is summoning a combat summon. So your combat summon already doesn't benefit from your passive. And moreover, right now it's a siege project. It's a siege unit. And siege units do not benefit from any enchantments. So it doesn't matter what build you are playing, current Tesseract, it's a summon. Early game it's quite useful, but it doesn't scale. It doesn't scale with the passive, it doesn't scale with enchantments. And at the same time, healing ability, again, heal was buffed in beta. It was supposed to be a best single target heal ability in the game, but it wasn't. So in beta they already changed it. They reduced damage of Tesseract a bit by 2. They gave it a battle mage tag, so at least it benefits from enchantments. It still doesn't benefit from your incarnate stacks, but that's okay. That's the culture design. The incarnate stacks works only on your units, excluding mythic units or combat summons. So for that reason, combat power. We are discussing combat power with limitations made by multiplayer community. It's getting a good tag. It's still plus 5 damage, plus 5 or 4 damage, depends on your limitations. But it doesn't work on combat summons. Unit roster is incomplete, and the design is a bit better in live version. It's definitely improved in beta, but on live version, for their design, they get a medium tag. On the other hand, their Guardian, tier 2 shield unit, is amazing. It's Aura, which reduces specific resistances to enemies, and it's stackable between Guardian. It's super good. I'm not sure about Guardian, so either Guardian is OP tier 2 unit, or the Guardian is a model tier 2 unit that every other culture should have. So what I'm saying, Guardian is bringing so much to the table, and I would like other cultures have something similar. So Guardian is a unit that you want to bring even late game to your fight. It's a cultural tier 2 unit, you want to stick forever with it. And in my opinion, it's a very good design. But currently other cultures lacking such a unit, except maybe Oathsworn because they have a good support. So Guardian is getting definitely an OP tag. It's a good that you can bring tier 2 cultural units into fight, and it's not a support. But the rest of the roster needs a bit of work on live version. For the unique features, Arctic culture was developed well, I would say. They have 2 unique buildings. It's they build monuments, they build monoliths, they increase their incarnate stacks. It's definitely interesting feature to play. It has potential, it has economic bonuses and stuff. So for unique features, they definitely get a good tag. And because their specific building brings them economy is also good. And when you play architects, because you cannot rush monuments with gold, you need to pick tomes that gives you extra economy. So this culture is based around economy. For SPI, it's quite interesting. This culture doesn't have any SPI, but they have monument. And monument we already put into unique features. So SPI, we just keep it blank. Let's make it gray, because culture does not have any SPI. Tier 3 building is their unique AFG thingy that gives them food and stability. We give it a medium tech because it shares the same resource requirement as monoliths, and you want to build those monuments before this AFG building. Complexity. This culture is really bad in auto combat early game on live version. They start with 0 stacks of affinity incarnate. Yeah, they have sappers, cultivators, which is pretty good, which allows them to cast those 2 stacks on any unit in your army. But in auto combat, we do not influence where they casted it. So complexity early game, especially for newer players, this culture will be a menace. I do not recommend it, like playing with auto combat with this culture, like if you are not familiar with the culture in a whole. So this culture farms bad right now on live version. On beta it was improved, but on live version this culture is very complex to play. So therefore they get in bad luck. It is time to move to our last culture with 7 subcultures, Primals. So having 7 subcultures kinda increasing pool of cultures in general, but they are not so different from each other. All their units, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, are the same. The only difference, half of the damage is usually different damage channel. So for example, Crocodile will deal blight damage, and Stormcrow tier 3 unit will deal half of the damage will be electricity 1. Cybertooth, for example, will be fire 1. This culture we will do a bit faster, because for cultures, Serpent, Cybertooth, Wolf, and Spider, they are going at the end of C tier. They have nothing specific. Primal Spider is promising because it gives you extra knowledge with their unique buildings, unique mechanics. But in reality, they start on the ground, and on the ground is still a bad start. So therefore, they're end of C tier. There is honorable mention of Primal Crocodile. It's the beginning of C tier. It's because they have a unique feature with when they get their stacks of Crocodile, they can apply diseased effect. 2 of the best of Primal cultures, it's Stormcrow and Mammoth. Why they're best? First of all, Mammoth spawns you in Arctic. Arctic is the best location to spawn in because of liquids and magic materials, and quite easier farming than the rest of the map. And Primal Stormcrow has a unique passive on movement. It allows you to move through the grassland faster than on roads. On roads, it takes 5 points to move 1 hex. With Primal Crow on grassland, it will take you 4 movements, so you will move faster than on a road. Their roster is quite good one. They have Darter, Protector, Primal Charger, Enemies, Ancestral Warden. Ancestral Warden has it's a Pac-Man unit with good stats and very good ability, Primal Lunge. It deals the damage is dealt based on animal you choose, the other half. And after Primal Lunge, you shorten the distance and you go inside the defense mode. So the roster is strong. Protector unit has a unique ability, Primal Renewal. When it's on maximum stacks of Fury or any stacks of Fury, it can use this ability and heal himself in battle. So it's a tier 1 unit that can be mounted, that can heal himself. So on paper, it should be great in auto combat. In reality, no. This unit is quite bad in auto. Because when it finally reaches its 5 stacks of Fury, it uses this ability regardless. It does need to heal or it does not need to heal. So it's healing a bit and skipping the storm. And heal is only 25. In my experience, this culture is not farming pretty well. There are some options where you can start with shield units and 2 enemies. All of them are mounted. You start with 6 units, and in that case, you can clear them up and heal them on the way. In that case, they can farm well. But in reality, this culture is struggling a bit because of Protector and its unique ability. The other issue why this culture is struggling in auto-clearing is because how their passive work. So in order for their passive to work, you need to make 5 hits, and only after that, for 5 more hits, you will get a bonus. In auto-combat, Usually when you make 5 hits with each unit and you finally activate your passive, your unit is either dead or the fight is over. Against the player, the situation is the same. When you finally stack 5 stacks of your Fury to get your combat passive, this unit is either dying or you kind of winning already. So, in my opinion, this culture should be reworked, especially their passive. On dev stream, by the way, devs told us that they were trying to like do some shape shifting, especially for primal culture. They didn't dive into details, and they said it didn't work for that moment. So hopefully in future, after a few patches, maybe in next expansion pass, if it ever comes out, we will get shape shifting on primals. Currently, their passive is weak. You need to do 5 hits, and the only way to increase those stacks before they engage is by using your cultural animist. So animist, when it applies healing, it applies 3 stacks of Fury. But in that case, it forces you to bring your animist into combat. And animist is not so great unit. Like, it has a summon ability when on maximum stacks when you can summon your spirit animal, which is pretty strong, and the animal is good. But usually what you want to do, you want to use your spirit healing on your heroes and on your important units to stack up this passive. But it kind of locks you to your cultural unit, and you must bring it to combat. Otherwise, you're gonna play like without your cultural passive. So for that reason, because they all need 5 stacks of cultural passive to even activate it, and activation bonus is not so strong. So let's actually look at this. Cybertooth, you deal a +3 damage from all attacks, and for extra damage to another unit, basically a splash with some range. Dune Serpent, quite interesting one because you get 4 extra damage and you apply Guarantee Blind, so it stacks very well with Shadow Blades. Glacier Mount. This is probably one of the best one. You get frost damage and you have a chance to apply Frozen, but still you need to stack it first. Mire Crocodile is my favorite one because you can apply Diseased, and what Disease does, you have -4 resistances on units. It's a good combo with mages. Stormcrow, it's a bit passive, it's a bit weaker. It's only +3 damage and some splash to adjacent enemy units. But on the other hand, they have the best movement passive. Sylvanian Wolf, it's a weird one, +3 +2 for each adjacent friendly unit. And Tunneling Spider, +3 and Lifesteal. So for cultural passive, only because you need to activate it and you don't have it from the beginning of a combat, they all get bad deck. Their economy is a very good one with their SPI building, so for economy they get a good tech. Unit roster, we had a look already. Tier 1 unit is okay. It's a shield unit, so it's okay in auto-clearing, but it has issues, but it's not the worst one, and it can be mounted. Tier 3 unit is amazing. It's one of the best pikemen in the game. Like before Pyros, it was the best pikeman in the game, so it's definitely getting a good tech for that. Unique features. Primal culture is the only culture that sees some trees on the map, and near those trees, if you make your city, you get extra bonuses, and you can build special buildings. So it's an interesting feature, and therefore, let's say it's a good feature. We give them a good tag for that. Interesting culture to play, and you get good bonuses for that. SPI. They all get a good SPI. Tier 3 building. Actually, I am not sure what their Tier 3 building is, but I will put a screenshot on the screen so you can see. Let's put it gray for now. And complexity, Primals are new players friendly culture, so complexity they also get good. So around all, it's a well-balanced culture. The only issue they have, and it's kind of a huge issue, is their combat passive, which you need to stack. And the only way to stack it is by using your enemies or already fighting your opponent. So therefore, Primals go in B tier and C tier. And B tier they go mostly because of economy and movement speed. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to drop like and subscribe. And if you liked tractorian of my cat, so say it in the comments, and maybe we will upload another video just with the cat. Thank you guys, see you, and next time we will see you already in open beta. Bye bye.